Alrighty, nice and in order. Hey, and welcome. Shabbat Shalom, and thank you all for coming to my bat mitzvah. It's pretty chill that y'all can make it. For those of you that don't know, in most bar or bat mitzvahs, it's customary for the kid to make a speech. Not just any speech, though. If I could spend this hour going on and on about horses and Ariana Grande, I definitely would. Instead, I have to interpret the meaning of my Torah portion in a way that relates to me. Those are my grandpa's words, by the way. For most non-Jewish people, my Torah portion is just going to sound like a bunch of fancy Hebrew words. But you'd be surprised to know that it actually has a meaning. The Torah as a whole is basically just a giant book of stories and instructions that's supposed to show us how to live well in community. It tells us stuff that happened in the past and how to be better in the future. In fact, the Jewish people read Torah portions all year long. It just so happens that a bar or bat mitzvah gets to have their own portion based off of the date they chose for the event. So there you have it, a brief explanation of what's going on today, halfway through the ceremony. Now that you know what a Torah portion is, it's time to talk about mine. It takes place in the book of Numbers, also known as Bamidbar. The word Bamidbar translates to in the wilderness, which makes sense because the Israelites were quite literally traveling through the wilderness at the time after being freed from slavery. I said that so perky. Slavery. Okay. In order to fully understand what it means to be in the wilderness, loosely interpreted as being free, we have to read deeper into the book of Numbers, looking at Aaron and his sons taking care of the holy objects and Moses counting the men for war. All of them have something in common. They're all taking a census of people, and all of those people are men. When thinking of a census, the textbook definition is that it means to count. In my Torah portion, multiple censuses are taken throughout the text, and in modern America, a census is the basis of our democracy. But I'm not really talking about any of that. When I say census, I mean that for hundreds upon hundreds of years, certain people weren't even counted as human. Black and brown people were enslaved for lifetimes in this very country, and is now basically the core reason our society cannot function on even a basic level. We are incapable of understanding the kindergarten ideology of accepting others, and that has now led to almost unrepairable divides around the entire world. The Jewish people were enslaved for generations, women stripped of their natural rights, and LGBTQ+ people are still facing the repercussions of living in a world that cannot simply accept that we are all human. That is what I mean by counting, and that we simply cannot move forward in the future if we don't fully understand how wrong we were in the past. In order to do that, we have to take a census of every horrible thing that we've done, if only to make sure that they never happen again. We must be responsible for the actions of our ancestors, even if we are certain that they're the good guys. I know that sounds unfair, because it is, but even Moses and Aaron were subject to patriarchal and misogynistic views, not allowing women to tend to holy things and only counting the men for battle are all examples of how taking a census of the past in order to move into the future is extremely important. Nobody can disagree with you when you tell them that Moses himself contributed to the way our society is constructed against groups of minorities. Now that we've dived deep into what it means to take a census of the past, it's time to get personal and ask myself the midlife crisis starting question: what does being a Jew mean to me, and why am I having this bat mitzvah? I know, right? If I were a middle-aged bald man who lived alone, this would be the start of the end. Ha ha ha. Thankfully, I'm not, so I can confidently so I can confidently go into detail about what it means to be Jewish with no fear of a mental breakdown. To me, to me, to me, Judaism isn't really about God or even religion. Rather, it's the community that being a Jew offers that pulls me to it. That and the fact that basically everybody on my mom's side of the family is a Jew. Which brings me to the next question. Why am I having a bat mitzvah? I'd like to say I'm doing this because I just really want to be accepted into the Jewish community as an adult, which I do, but mostly I'm having this for my family, so they can feel like I'm closer to what they love most, and so I can feel closer to them. That's basically what Judaism is, right? Bringing each other closer through love and prayer. As somebody who identifies as Black and a Jew, it's even more necessary for me to be counted into this religion. It's a way to take a census of my ancestors' struggles and create diversity in the Jewish world through a ritual only very recently open to women. So start taking censuses, people. Take a census of the things that make you happy, sad, and confused. Take a census of your children or your great-great-grandparents. And while you're doing that, recognize the censuses that you take every day. The food on a grocery list, counting up dollars in your bank account. Every census is important because they help you keep track of the things you love the most. To take a census is to know what you have, so you can govern yourself and help others. If you pay attention to the things that you have, you can see how different your choices will be and how those choices will affect those around you. And that's the most important thing that you can do. Now, don't clap yet. And now I just want to take a minute to thank all of the amazing, beautiful, perfect people that have helped me through this bat mitzvah, because I definitely could not have done it and probably wouldn't have done it if it wasn't for everybody here. So, I am thankful to my mother for giving me life, for putting up with me when I'm acting dumb, and for dedicating her life to the maintenance of mine. I'm thankful to my father for teaching me not to be a sucker in life, to think critically and be skeptical of others. I'm thankful to my grandpa for coaching me through this bat mitzvah, to both my amazing grandmas, and to Rabbi Patrick for loading us this beautiful Torah, to Ariel for playing her beautiful music today, and to all the cousins, family, friends, everyone who could make it here today. Thanks, people, and good Shabbos.